He's getting older.
That is totally absurd.
But not wiser.
Everybody has affinity for cock.
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with all of you today, Monday. Happy Monday, everybody, for episode number 92 of The Lefty Show. Today, Monday, the 22nd of September in the year of our Spaghetti Monster 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to The Lefty Show. Hope to put on a great show for you today. I hope you all enjoy listening. Thank you to everybody that's been liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can find the show in its YouTube formation. Thank you to everybody that has been sharing the show. Try it out for yourself. Thank you to everybody that's been doing so and will do so. It helps the show grow, which is easier to do now that you can find the show wherever you get your podcasts via the RSS feed, leftyshow.podbean.com, or wherever you go to get your podcast, Android, iOS, for your PC, tablet, or mobile device, search The Lefty Show. You'll be sure to find us there. That's The Lefty Show. Subscribe to the feed. Download all the episodes. Thank you to everybody following me on Twitter at Lefty643, as well as donating. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions is where you can go to help out the show with a generous donation. I thank you for doing that. Update on the audio situation here. We've got some new stuff. I told you that I got a real-time compressor, which is here. It's compressing. I see it. Look at it compressing. I see it doing the compression stuff right now. It's also limiting so that you're less likely to hear me breathe in, which is good. You don't want to hear that. And it will also compress so that I can raise the volume of my voice, and it won't get nearly as loud as it would without compression. It won't clip. But I've also got a preamp that is hopefully providing some nice clean gain to my microphone signal. And over the weekend, I've been just playing around, reading up on signal-to-noise ratio and how to set up a preamp and real-time compressor setup without having to do much, if anything, in post. And I'm at a place right now where I think I'm in the ballpark of what would work. There's a good bit of gain applied to the signal, but it's not all raised up so that you hear everything. I lamented on Twitter, I believe it was Saturday, that if I turn up the gain high enough without turning down the output, I can hear frogs outside. My microphone will pick up frogs. And so I had to play around with lowering the output and stuff and signal to noise ratio. So there's a lot of signal, but not a lot of noise. And I think it'll provide a bit of I don't know. They say warmer. Who knows what that really means? Everybody says, "Oh, it's got a warmer sound." I don't know. But it does. It does do the work. It does the compression work, and it does boost the signal enough that the compressor actually starts working, which was, if you'll recall, one of the issues I had. So going to continue to play with settings, but and really the only way, one of the best ways to test is to record, and then you see what you got. Because I can record me going check, 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 1 2 1 2, sibilance, sibilance, sibilance. I can test doing that, and I can record that, and this sounds good, and I change that setting. Or, this is me, the threshold's going up, or, the gain's going up, they're going to turn down this, and we're going to raise the dB floor of the compressor, etc. Ha ha ha, here's how we sound. But that's only limited changes. That's a limited amount of time being exposed to the changes. I thought, hey, the best part would just go pick some settings that sound all right, and then I go for it. And then I go off on my crazy tangents, yelling about things, screaming about things, being angry at this or that, and listen to it afterwards to see how it sounds. The only way to really test this stuff is to field test it. I get out in the field of me going, F this and F that and up yours and suck my this and all that stuff. And we'll see how it sounds. And speaking of being pissed off about things, I swear I don't go looking for these things. They just pop into my head. And when they pop into my head, I get pissed off because independent of something that I'm doing or that I'm not going out looking for trouble. I'm not going out looking to be upset. I'm not going, I got to be upset about something. I'm just doing something else, and then my mind is mulling over, something on cruise control, and it uncovers a truth, and it goes like to my conscious part of my brain, like, hey, I've been working on these formulas over here, and this, this is some crap right here. I mean, does this check out with you? My conscious brain goes, holy crap, that's crap. Hey, you got to think about this now. Look at how much crap this is. Oh, it's all crap, and it's crap. And then I get pissed off, and my day's ruined. But the other day, I was girlfriend flying out of town for a couple of days, and I took her to the airport early in the morning. Had to get up at had to get up at an ungodly hour, like 6:30 in the morning is when my eyes cracked, and it's just and that's after going to bed. That's after she started watching Idiot Abroad on Netflix, and I've never seen that show before. So I come to bed knowing that I have to get up early. I know I have to get up early the next morning. I know I have to get up early the next morning with her to drive her to the airport. Because you've got to leave, you don't know what traffic's going to be like. You don't know what the line at the airport is going to be like. So, okay, I got to get up early in the morning, get plenty of lead time, at least an hour from her flight time, which is like 8:30 or something. You got to be there with at least an hour to spare just in case, because the downside of being late is you miss your $300, $250 flight. So... or it's probably more like $125 because it's $250 or $275 round trip. So I come to bed at like 10:30, going, okay, well now it's bedtime. I'm an old man, I'm creaky, and I'm just I gotta go to sleep. And she's watching Idiot Abroad, which was a British show that aired on the Sky Network, and I've never seen it before. And I'm usually not a fan of British comedy. But this show put on by Ricky Gervais and Carl Pilkington is the idiot that goes abroad, and he knows Ricky Gervais and Steve. I forget his name. He was the voice of one of the characters in Portal 2. But they're all comedians and writers and stuff, and it's really funny. So I come to bed at 10 o'clock, 10:30, and then I I watch 2 or 3 episodes. I look over, it's 1:30 in the morning. I go, oh, crap, I got to get up in 5 hours. Damn it. So here I am running on 5 hours of sleep, get up, driving Katie to my girlfriend to the airport. And as it turns out, we're flying, making great time. Nobody on the road. I said, oh, well, all right. And I remarked, we could stop off and get breakfast. And she said, no, I'd really like to get, to the airport just to be safe. I said, no, but we got plenty of time. We could stop off and go get, we haven't had McDonald's breakfast in a while. And oh my God, McDonald's breakfast is so good. Come on, let's go get McDonald's breakfast. She said, no. I was like, okay, fine. Because it's her flight. It's important to her. And I'm not going to be a bastard and be like, no, we're going to McDonald's breakfast. It would be stupid of me to draw a line in the sand at McDonald's breakfast. Say, nope, we're doing this. So we go. And at that point, I'm focusing on driving. The conscious part of my brain is don't get us killed because we're on the highway going fast. And at that point, the subconscious part of my brain starts turning over the I want to have breakfast with my girlfriend before she gets on a plane problem. Because the initial response was McDonald's breakfast. No. Damn it. Okay. The other part of my brain, all right, let's start mulling this over. Let's see if there's anything we can do. And eventually, that part of my brain came back and said, hey, you know what would be really cool is if you could actually go to the terminal, go into the terminal with her so that you can get breakfast at any number one of the, they got Cinnabons, they have McDonald's there, they have even restaurants that serve breakfast at O'Hare. And you can go in and get breakfast with her. That would be great, right? Another part of my brain said, yeah, that'd be cool. But then that same part of my brain was reminded one of the other parts, say, oh, well, we can't go there because we don't have a ticket. She has a ticket, I don't. And I'm not going to buy a ticket there just to go get breakfast with her. That'd be stupid. So then I start thinking, why in the hell do I need, that really sucks. Why do I need a ticket to go into the terminal of an airport just so I can have coffee and breakfast with my girlfriend before she gets on a plane? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then I started thinking, oh, crap, how stupid is that? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. What does it do? It's inconveniencing me. Well, it's supposed to stop terrorists. I say, okay. But then I had this epiphany. Said, the barrier to entry to the terminal is now a ticket. You have to have a ticket. You have to have a ticket to get to the terminal, to get to that place where everybody waits for the plane. You also have to have a ticket to get on the airplane. It's not like, sit wherever you want once you get into the terminal. It's not just like admit one seating. Like, yeah, go ahead, find out. It's not like going into a movie theater. There are still assigned seats once you get into the terminal. The ticket serves as your barrier, as the gate key to both the terminal but also the plane. You are not getting on that plane without a ticket. You're not getting on any plane that is serviced by that terminal without a ticket. It's not going to happen. It's just not. Because even if you try to rush past the cutesy little ticket agent with way too much hairspray at 7 in the morning, and he's way too bubbly, when you do that, they're not flying the plane. They're not. What are you talking about? No, we're not going anywhere. There's a guy on this plane, on this aluminum tube, who doesn't have a ticket, who rushed past it. We are not going up 35,000 feet into the air, traveling 500 miles an hour. Well, that's not what we're doing. We're going to sit here, find you, and remove you from the plane. So the argument that in order to curb terrorism, in order to eliminate danger, to make the airport, to make flying, because that's how they bill it. That's how they bill every single rule. Every single rule that the TSA or the airport administers is supposed to make flying safer. It's not supposed to make sitting at the terminal safer. I mean, that's like going to the mall. Sitting at the terminal is like going to the mall and sitting at the food court. You have about the same amount of safety sitting in the terminal as you do sitting at the mall food court. It's not about making you safe sitting at the terminal. And what kind of crappy terrorists are like, all right, well, these plane things, if you make them go wrong, you can do really bad crap with them. Yeah. But screw that. I want to go for the people sitting at the terminal. You mean those loosely gathered people sitting around like any other public area? Yeah, let's go for that. Well, why don't we just go to a public area then? No. I want to go to the airport. But it's really hard to get to the terminal. No, Habib. I know you are accounts receivable. I'm logistics, okay? I'm strategy. Okay? You make sure we have the money to do what I want. I get to decide what we want to do. I want to go to the airport terminal. But it's really stupid hard to, come on. It's easier to go to the public place, and it's accessible by so many over there. No. We got to do this. It's about these rules. like you need a ticket to go to the terminal, are completely about making flying safer. So, using that logic, the very fact that you also need a ticket to get on the plane completely nullifies whatever safety could be brought by making sure that you need to get a ticket to get into the terminal. I realized as we approached the airport, I realized that I could very easily have breakfast with my girlfriend at the terminal, and allowing people to come freely from the terminal, walk people right up to the gate like you used to be able to do not that long ago, that wouldn't make flying any more or less safe. Remarkably. It wouldn't make flying remarkably safer or unsafer. Or more unsafe. It's a complete nothing. And I realized just driving forward that as we got closer and closer to the airport, I realized the complete nothing that is this supposed security measure. They dress it up nice. They've got the line cues heading all to the TSA agents, and they say, you better have a ticket and ID. You gotta have a ticket and an ID. All right, okay, here you go. Go through security. But you still need that ticket to get on the damn plane. You're not going to get on the plane even if you somehow get through security without a ticket. It's completely nonsensical. It does nothing. It prevents nothing other than just screwing with you. It makes white people feel safe. That's all it does. As George Carlin remarked in, I believe it was his year 2000 or 2001 comedy special on HBO, these kinds of stupid, superficial TSA security, airport security rules don't do anything. They don't do anything. I mean, I get no explosives on the plane. I get that one. I understand that one. That's a no-brainer. But the other things, the herding of you, like, oh, well, you gotta have a ticket before you can get onto the terminal. I say, well, what does that actually do? I mean, what is it? What terrorism does that prevent? None. Because you still need a ticket to get on the damn plane. And if you're not on the plane, you can't take that. It's hard. It becomes exponentially harder to do anything to that plane if you're not on it. So that leaves the only thing that rule is meant to do is to screw with you and make other people feel safer because they are being screwed with. Oh, well, I feel safer getting on this plane now because people who could even were this barrier to entry to be removed still couldn't get on the plane, but they can't get into the terminal now. So they can't go to the duty-free shop. And even then, you still need an international ticket to shop at the duty-free shop. So don't even come at me with the duty-free stuff. You have to present an international ticket with any purchase at duty-free. And you're not really saving that much. You're not saving that much money shopping duty-free. It's not even worth it. So the only thing that prevented me from having a nice breakfast and coffee with my girlfriend before she got on a plane is other scared white people who just, I need to feel safe. And I mean, yeah, I know that if you don't have a ticket anyway, you're still not getting on the plane, but you can't get in the terminal if you don't have a ticket because oh my God, I'm scared of brown people. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The extent to which we will screw with ourselves to make ourselves feel safer. The extent to which we will do nonsensical and say nonsensical things just because, I feel safer and I feel better. Speaking of nonsensical things, Roger Goodell had a press conference. Finally, he was silent for 9 days. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell was. after the fallout of the Ray Rice tape, of Adrian Peterson, of Jonathan Dwyer, Greg Hardy, Ray McDonald. Roger Goodell was MIA. So he finally held a press conference and convened, among other things, talking about it's his reassertion as lead dog of the NFL. Roger Goodell said, we, the NFL, are going to convene a blue ribbon commission on women's rights, on protecting women, on domestic violence, and all these things. And it's a gaggle of 4 or 5 women, I want to say, all of whom white pieces of bread, just the whitest pieces of white bread you could ever think to imagine. And that's otherwise wouldn't matter to me. I'm more, they're all women. Okay, well, all right. Why isn't there, I want to know why the study everybody quotes, 1.6 million of incidents of domestic violence a year, right? 1.6 million women estimated. It's estimated because that's not police reports. And I want to know where these supposed incidents are coming from if they're not in a damn police report. But 1.6 million women affected by domestic violence every year. 800, that same study, 800,000 men every year victims of domestic abuse. 800,000. So why isn't there, in a league that's dominated by all men, why isn't there at least one guy on the commission to go, this guy was getting beat up by his old lady, and she was threatening to sue him and try to take his money, and she was just beating on him, and he hit her. Got nothing. This isn't the thing. Why isn't there that? But their race to me didn't matter. But their race did matter in the press conference to probably another white piece of bread, a CBS reporter, asking Roger Goodell, and I have it here, to justify. Okay, that was the word she used. Asking Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL, to justify, quote, justify, end quote, the racial makeup of the blue ribbon panel. Her reasoning being that in a sports league that is, 85% black? And I'm going to say black over African American because black is quicker, less chance to stumble. In a league that's 85% black, or whose employees are 85% black, why is there not one black person on this panel? Why is there not one black person impaneled on this blue ribbon commission? Roger Goodell and the NFL are calling them experts. Oh, experts. Experts. They're blue ribbon. They have no authority. They will recommend things. They will say, they will proclamate and recommend, but have no direct authority. They do nothing. They have no power. They have no sovereignty. They are just a Band-Aid on the proverbial bullet wound. But this reporter asked, can you justify not having a black person on this panel? And Roger Goodell hemmed and hawed and tried to tap dance and say, I've got binders full of black women all over the place. And he said people of color. It's just, why did you do that? Why? Don't say people of color. Don't do it, Roger. Don't do it. But speaking about, nonsensical things that we all say to make ourselves feel better, because there's no doubt that people are racist. Okay, well, that's a problem. I disagree there, but okay, you want to make a problem of it. One thing that people do, this is one thing that people do to make themselves feel better about this perceived issue of racism in America, and indeed the world, is and I say this all the time, they use racism to combat racism, and that makes them all feel better. And nobody to my knowledge has ever called anybody on that. Like, you're being racist there, right? In order to combat perceived racism on my part, perceived racism, and that's the worst part, is that Donald Sterling, and I want to issue a correction for a couple shows ago. I said Roger Sterling over and over again, and I saw somebody, a nice commenter noted that that's a Mad Men character, and indeed he is. No, not that Roger Sterling, although he is racist, I believe. That Roger Sterling, oddly enough, is a racist white rich man. I don't think he's a billionaire to the level of Donald Sterling, but he is a rich man who is a racist. So I wasn't that far off. But it was Donald Sterling, and I said Roger Sterling. I issue a correction. I'm sorry. You know, Donald Sterling going out and about like, you're not, you know, I'm not leasing you this apartment because you're black. Well, that's easy. But a lot of people run around accusing others of racism because they perceive it. They perceive something to be racist. So this reporter perceived Roger Goodell's decision to impanel on this Blue Ribbon Commission all white women as racist and asked to justify the decision. And I wish I was Roger Goodell, or I wish the NFL had somebody that was a little bit better on their feet and perhaps even a bit more combative with the media, because my response would have been, well, it seems to me that you are accusing these women of not being able to understand something. They're not going to be able to do their jobs. Why is that? You're making a distinction along racial lines. Is that because you believe black people to be somehow fundamentally different from white people? That sounds racist to me. I picked them because I believe they will do good work. They just happen to be white. Race had nothing to do with it. But race has very much something to do with your decision to question the racial makeup of these panelists. Yeah, they're all white. What about their whiteness means that they can't understand issues about domestic violence within the black community? Or what about the black community in the NFL is different that necessitates a black person on the panel? What you are effectively saying that they are different. That sounds kind of racist, isn't it? Huh? No. And everybody's, yeah, because there's not a black guy or a black girl on there. If it was a black guy, fine. Just give me a guy. Let's stop pretending. Please, can we stop pretending that domestic violence is a one-way street? We also pretend sexism is a one-way street. We pretend racism is a one-way street. Stop it. Stop. Because that CBS journalist was racist. That was a racist question on two levels. One, effectively saying that black people are somehow different, somehow fundamentally different, and can only be understood by one of their kind. Racist. Right? Imagine a white cracker-ass guy just said that. Yeah, black people, they need one of their own kind to talk to, man. You can't listen to what they have to say, man, because you can't talk to them. You can't tell them what to do. You need to get one of their own kind because they only understand each other, man. Tell you what. That would be racist. Oh, my God, that's racist. How can you be so racist? But this CBS journalist, happens to be a woman, of course, says, effectively says, black people need one of their own to communicate, to understand what's going on. That's racist. And also racist because you're assuming that white people, white women, the impaneled white women, aren't able to understand the plight or the reasoning or the circumstances surrounding an issue of domestic violence involving a black player. That is also racist. So in order to combat perceived racism, this woman went on a racist tirade asking Roger Goodell to justify this decision. And it's maddening at times. It can be maddening because it's just like realizing that the need to have a ticket to get to the terminal is absolute crap. It's meaningless. It's a meaningless rule, and it accomplishes nothing other than messing with you so that other people feel safer, realizing the injustice of that and how stupid. But people go around, oh, I feel safe. I feel safe. And you see people just willfully being stupid and saying stupid things and hypocritical things just to feel safer. You go, oh, well, that angers me. And to see, here's this CBS reporter, white piece of bread, using racism to combat racism, and it's okay. It's, oh, well, she was combating racism, so it was okay that she was being racist by saying all these things, by assuming all this stuff. No. There was some racism. And we say and do stupid things to make ourselves feel better, not realizing the stupid things that we do. What? Racism to combat racism? You perceive racism here, right? Yes. Okay. And you want to stop that, right? Right. It's an injustice, right? Yeah. Your solution to that is to then make decisions based on race. Yeah. Solely based on race. Yeah. So your answer to perceived racism is racism. Well, no, because there needs to be a black woman who can understand their culture that better understands and can make a better decision, is going to be more informed. And I say that's racism. That's racist. Because one, you're saying they're different and can't be understood by white people, and two, the other way, you're saying white people can't understand them. They can't comprehend it. No, that's racist. Oh, well, you have to accept. And here's my ultimate point. Here it is. You're going to have to accept racism. You're going to have to accept it. You're going to have to accept that people believe others are different from them and are going to make decisions based upon that. You have to accept it. Or you have to accept racism, or you can't use race any which way. You can fight racism, sure. Educate people. Try to teach people, hey, idiot, there's no fundamental difference between you and this black guy, or this person because they're a different religion, or this person because they're homosexual. No fundamental difference. You're all human, and that's you're all damn close. You can't use race to fight racism, because if you use racism to fight racism, you have to accept racism. Duh. Because then you're saying, well, racism is okay if it's only directed at this certain way, at this certain goal that I deem to be important. I deem this to be a worthwhile goal. I deem getting, and it works for anything, not just race-based, gender-based, any equality stuff. Because when I decide that it's really important that women become firefighters, then I'm just going to promote, I'm going to campaign to lobby for the hiring of women based solely on their gender. That's what I'm going to do. And yeah, that's sexist, but I'm going to do it. So to fight perceived sexism or gender bias, you are being biased about gender. But it's okay, you rationalize it because you say, well, it's important in this way. And I say, okay. But then you can't crap on anybody else who uses gender bias, who uses any kind of bias or prejudice based in a direction that they deem important. And yes, that includes the country cracker in Alabama who doesn't want to hire black guys to work in his diner because that's important to him. And if it's important to you to have women to be firefighters to the point where you will campaign and lobby based solely on their gender, even to the point where you say, well, you need to lower the physical requirements because women can't do it. If you're going to do that, you have accepted prejudice, using prejudice as a tool to effect change and to plaster your worldview onto other people. You've done it there. You've done it there. You have to accept other people doing it their way. So, okay. Oh, well, justify to me the fact that there's no black people on this panel. Well, they're just not. Right? Don't you say by saying, well, there needs to be a black person on there. Why? I thought we were supposed to all be one big happy, opaque family. Mocha. I thought we were supposed to be that. What the hell? Then you have to accept if you're going to ask Roger Goodell to justify the fact that there's no black people on this panel, you're going to have to accept somebody using race or some other prejudice or some other bias in a way that they deem fit, in a way that they deem right and normal. Let's do some news. All right, we got some good stuff to talk about in the news today. This comes from ABC3340.com. Yes, that's an actual website. Dateline, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. University of Alabama officials have released a response to the late-night lockdown on campus. The release says UA police responded to reports of people with guns on Tutwiler. We're told the officers searched the building and found no weapons or unauthorized persons. Well, please explain to me, what exactly is an unauthorized person? Are you a person? Yes. Are you authorized to be here? Yeah. All right, then. Keep my eye on you. UA reps say the information that was provided to UAPD and other law enforcement came from social media posts and not actual witness accounts. UAPD will continue to investigate the situation and determine where the posts originated. The University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, were on lockdown, police enforced lockdown, and police going through buildings. Are you an authorized person? Show me your papers. Police were going through, trying to find people. Lockdown. Based on social media posts and not actual witness accounts. Society in America has become very, very skittish. I mean, highlighted earlier in the show. We accept a nonsensical, do-nothing rule such as you need a plane ticket to get onto the terminal. We accept that. We go, oh, it makes us feel safe. We accept somebody feeling our genitals without a warrant or probable cause because it makes us feel safer and a little bit happy. We accept all that because we are a skittish society. We are scared of everything. Oh my God, something's going to come in here and mess with me. Oh, well, why do the police have ceramic body armor and MRAPs and armored vehicles and military assault rifles and sniper rifles? Why do they have those things? Well, because they might need them one day, and I don't want to live in a world where they don't have that capability because of the one day something bad might happen. Something bad might happen. It's pathetic, really. Here we have Tuscaloosa, Alabama, a university placed on lockdown because of social media posts and not actual eyewitness accounts. Gunmen on campus, this, that on campus. Over the weekend, or on Friday, the University of Georgia was placed on lockdown in Athens. The University of Georgia was placed on lockdown because of, and I quote this from the news agencies, reporting on the story, non-specific threats. Okay? Non-specific threats. Non-specific threats was the word of the day. And again, social media, that's where it came from. Not from eyewitness accounts, not an eyewitness saying gunman on campus, not, hey, reports of shooting on the Georgia campus. These are from social media posts that were labeled as non-specific threats. And people said that phrase. People repeated that phrase, the talking head. And the journalism student on campus that was calling in on her cell phone said that phrase over and over and over again. Non-specific threat. And nobody questioned it. Seriously. Non-specific threat. How is it a threat? How is it a threat? How do I communicate to you a threat? A criminal threat? Threat of violence, a threat that puts you in fear, in reasonable fear of your life and your limb and all this stuff. How do I do that without being specific? I have to be specific, don't I? Otherwise, it's not a threat. So how could it possibly be? How could it possibly in any way be that the phrase non-specific threat is valid? And that makes sense to people. People put that into their brain and go, compute. Yep, all good. What? Keep in mind, this is the same society where a guy can quote a stupid metal song. Again, non-specific, completely non-specific, not communicating intent or where the crime is going to be committed or upon whom the crime is going to be committed. No intent, no nothing, just lyrics. And somebody goes, oh my God, oh my God. And the police actually respond. The police got that call and go, all right, we're rolling. Woo, 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 woo. And they show up like, oh, did you say these things? Like, get out of here. Get the hell out of here. How does anybody, these things, those lyrics, those are pretty graphic, There's a Slipknot song that I'm fond of. I believe it's called Disaster Pieces. I don't know if it's Disaster Piece or Disaster Pieces. I think it's Disaster Piece. And it's peace like piece of cake, not pieces and peace and love, peace and love. And the opening lyric after a sweet intro is, I want to slit your throat and fuck the wound. That's the opening lyric. And if I just put that on social media, is that a specific threat? Do you reading that feel threatened? Is that a reason? And furthermore, is that a reasonable fear? Do you have a reasonable fear that, one, I know who you are, and two, I know where you are, and three, I have the means and the ability to come and do that to you? Because that's how you make a threat. That's how you make a threat. Does my quoting of that Slipknot song without any context whatsoever, without any specific person mentioned or group of people mentioned, does that communicate a threat? No, of course not, right? But in our skittish, oh my God, society, we better call the cops just to be safe. And it gets to the point where we say things like non-specific threat, because here's what happened. I guarantee you, I'm like Karnak over here. I guarantee you, in both this University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa and the University of Georgia case, here's what happened. Somebody made a similar post to a Facebook or Twitter account. and they said something, they're quoting a song or, quote, making a pop culture reference of some kind, just saying things, not specific things, but just whatever. And somebody somewhere read that and go, oh, that person goes to the University of Georgia. They're at the University of Georgia right now. Oh, my God, shooter on campus, non-specific threat. Non-specific threat has become a euphemism for you've said things that kind of scare me. That's what it means. When you hear non-specific threat, just imagine a bunch of people pissing their pants over nothing. You say boo, and they go, oh my God, I got poop in my pants now. That's what it is. Non-specific threat means and is nothing. But you can lock down major college campuses by making non-specific threats. And the worst part is that the people who bring you the news, the people whose job it is to bring you the news, to report the news, to be unbiased, those people can say things like non-specific threat without any kind of consternation, without any kind of, that doesn't sound right. Then they just say it and go, it's a non-specific threat. Be scared, America. In other news, other scared America news, this is from CBSNews.com. A Texas mom started a parenting debate this month, blogging about her 6-year-old playing outside by himself. She described her shock and anger when police and Child Protective Services came knocking on her door, CBS News correspondent Manuel Bojorquez reports. Carrie Ann Roy knows all about the joys and challenges of raising a child. She has 3 of them. Her youngest, 6-year-old Isaac, recently gained the privilege of playing outside alone for a few minutes. Isaac said his rules were laid out for him. Don't go past the top of the hill where the stop sign is. But a seemingly well-intentioned neighbor brought Isaac back home one day. Quote, there was kind of this disconnect where I was smiling and saying, yes, he was outside playing. And she was like, well, he was outside by himself. And I said, yes, he was outside by himself playing, as 6-year-olds do, Roy said. But it doesn't end there. Soon, Roy had another knock on her door, a police officer who questioned her, but left. A few days later, Child Protective Services arrived and questioned each of her children. Like, have you taken drugs or alcohol? Have you seen movies of naked people? Has anybody touched you? They had to investigate, Roy said. If CPS gets a call, you want them to check out on the welfare of the children. However, I think when they are getting these kinds of frivolous calls, it's wasting resources. Roy said that while supervision is important, letting children have their space is valuable too. I think when it comes to children, you have to give them the experience of life, Roy said. It's doing them a disservice if we keep them trapped in the house until they are 16 and they are off to high school. 6 years old, playing outside for a few minutes. You can't leave a 6-year-old out to play. Are you in a minefield? Are we like in the Ugandan minefields, you know, where Princess Di would walk around a lot? Like, oh, these terrible minefields. With the stupid, like, bulletproof vest or bomb-resistant vest. Like, 1, that's going to do anything if you step on a mine. And two, don't even try to tell me that the British SAS or whatever their military personnel weren't out there for weeks beforehand sweeping wherever that broad was going to be walking. Walking, how? Mine's dangerous. Can't do it. You can't let your 6-year-old play outside anymore. Otherwise, a police officer, or, well, first of all, another concerned parent, which, and I imagine answering the door to all of these things. I let my 6-year-old play outside. I don't have a 6-year-old to my knowledge. I let my 6-year-old play outside, and then they're brought home by another concerned parent. First of all, I say, what the hell are you doing touching my child? What did they do? Well, they were outside playing. Yeah? Well, they were outside playing by themselves, and that was enough for you to touch my child and bring them home. Don't ever come near my children again. Get off my property. Bam, door in the face. Then, of course, because that biatch went and called the police. No, it doesn't matter if they're a man or woman. They're still a biatch. They call the police and the cop shows up. like to ask you about something. What? Well, this such and such and such, communicating your child was outside playing alone. Do you have a warrant? No. Bam, door in the face. Slam it. Then, of course, CPS shows up. We want to interview all your children. Do you have a warrant? No. Bam, door in the face. Don't let these people in your home. It's bad enough. It's bad enough that we've let fear and appeals to emotion. Oh, the children. Think of the children. It's bad enough that we've allowed it to get to the point where something, a department like Child Protective Services is so freaking powerful, where they can show up. Not with an officer. They just show up, and we are the Child Protective Services, and we're going to do whatever we want to you because we're Child Protective Services, because we got to protect the children. We're going to walk all over your property and start, don't talk to my kids. No, talk to me. Talk to me if you have something to say, and if I don't want to hear it, then get the hell out. All for letting a child, a 6-year-old child, a 6-year-old child play outside alone for just a few minutes. And we're just a bunch of sissies and ninnies in our society, in our culture today. Oh my God, the children, this 6-year-old was playing outside. Yes, 6-year-olds play outside. Yes. They run around and eventually they're going to learn to ride bikes. And then they're going to hang out with their friends. And they're going to ride their bikes to play with their friends. And they're going to get into trouble. They're going to be a bunch of little punks. And that's what kids do. And this woman was right. You can't keep them locked up. I can't let my child play outside in the backyard for a couple minutes anymore? Really? Then somebody's going to come bringing him home, and then a cop and CPS is going to show up? We're done. We're done. I'm rooting for ISIS now. Go ISIS. Come get us. This is ridiculous. We need to wipe the slate clean. Start over. In why is this even a thing news? A lawyer allegedly photoshopped herself with celebrities and faces suspension. An LA attorney allegedly marketed herself as someone who rubs shoulders with the famous, such as Bill Clinton and Nick Lachey. Well, Bill Clinton and Nick Lachey, about the same. Lies come with marketing just as readily as they come with love. If you can make out that you're famous, you can sell to your heart's content and seize the sort of hearts that'll make you content. Perhaps, though, if you're a lawyer, it might be worth thinking twice before you suggest that you hang out with Bill Clinton, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Donald Trump. There's nothing wrong with any of them, of course, though I am not currently in possession of any of their mental health records. However, lawyers are supposed to tell the truth, or something that can be approximated to it. LA attorney Svetlana Sangari is accused of bending that truth to a technological breaking point. As Fast Company reports, she allegedly photoshopped herself into around 50 celebrity photos, making herself to be something of a celebrity. These images were posted to her firm's website. The alleged touching up touches on the professional. There she is with Joe Biden. There she is with President Barack Obama. There she is with Nick Lachey. But here she is facing 6-month suspension from practicing law. Donald Miles, a state bar court judge, believes she's guilty of deceptive advertising, which does seem a touch harsh, as certain deceptiveness is an integral part of almost all advertising. What is, though, deceptively enjoyable is her legal retort to the charges. There's sheer delight at how she mentions the movie Black Swan, in which Natalie Portman's head was allegedly superimposed onto the body of another woman who was a better dancer. And looky here, she still won an Oscar. Sadly, the state bar court's recommendation of suspension and probation is now merely waiting for the nod of the California Supreme Court. So here's a lawyer in L.A. who's going to be suspended from practicing law for a period of 6 months for photoshopping herself on her company's her firm's awful website, CaliforniaCivilLawyer.com, and they have a publicity page, which looks like it's straight out of 1998. And I'm looking at the pictures right now. Again, it's CaliforniaCivilLawyer.com. Go to the publicity page. They're not. She keeps the resolution small. She keeps the sheer size of the image small, which probably hides some of the imperfections of the photoshopping. But they don't look bad. You know, there's a few where you can tell. The one with George Clooney, yeah, you can tell like where she was at in her Photoshop career, or where whomever was doing these images for her, where they were in understanding Photoshop. I guarantee you the George Clooney one was one of the first done, because that's clearly not the same. But then you get stuff like in pictures that are distorted, and her face is distorted and lit in the exact same way. I'm looking at one with Larry King that looks as though it's been distorted for, not a very high resolution picture. But her face looks distorted in the exact same way that Larry King's does. So these are some high quality photoshops of this woman with, the Bill Clinton one is kind of iffy. But the one with Hillary Clinton looks nice. The one with Al Gore and Nancy Pelosi looks all right. It's Jamie Foxx. Yeah, that looks pretty good. James Gandolfini, the one with James Gandolfini is nice. Listen, I don't know, and I don't know where is this coming from? Where is the need for this page coming from? Publicity. Here's me at a bunch of parties with celebrities. That's not publicity. That's you just. These are pictures of you, even if they are true. I'm going to operate from the assumption that they are actual pictures, that they're real, that they're not Photoshopped. She was actually there with these people. When I look to hire an attorney, and I hope that when anybody looks to hire an attorney, they're not at all interested in which celebrities this attorney is seen hobnobbing with. Why would the two correlate? You're on trial for a DUI or drug possession, or you want to sue somebody, or you want to sue a contractor who screwed up your house. Why would you care at all if this woman knows or spoke a few words to Jamie Foxx? Why would you care? You know what? She's probably a not very good attorney. I'll just guess that she's probably not very good. The people who would hire her based on these pictures are probably deserving whatever happens to them in court. You probably, if you're this dumb, if you're dumb enough to, one, go to the website, CaliforniaCivilLawyer.com, and you can just look at the website and go, Jesus, what is this? Who's your webmaster? And then you click on publicity to try to read articles written about the attorney you want to hire or the firm you want to hire, and there's just a bunch of pictures of them with celebrities. Don't you go, why are they trying to hide? Why, what are you trying to hide from me? You should be, if you're an attorney, I'm guessing you should be like, look at me being an amazing attorney. Look at me being great at my job. Not, hey, here's me going to a bunch of parties with the likes of Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary, and Bill Clinton. Who cares? You should be skeptical, not, oh, man, look at that, Larry King. I was questioning whether they would be a top-notch attorney, whether this would be a top-notch firm. But this picture of this woman, whether she's an attorney with this firm or not, the picture of this woman with Larry King shows that somebody was with Larry King one day. This is the law firm for me. You deserve whatever happens to you. You deserve to lose. You deserve to go to jail. Because you're going to jail by proxy for being dumb. And sometimes you just need to be like, hey, you're being really dumb. All right, final story from NBC News. Who's funding ISIS? Wealthy Gulf angel investors, officials say. A small but steady flow of money to ISIS from rich individuals in Gulf countries. I'm sorry. Let's start over. Let's try one more time. Who's funding ISIS? A small but steady flow of money to ISIS from rich individuals in the Gulf continues, say current and former U.S. officials, with Qataris the biggest suppliers. These rich individuals have long served as angel investors, as one expert put it, for the most violent militants in the region, providing the seed money that helped launch ISIS and other jihadi groups. No one in the U.S. government is putting a number on the current rate of donations, but former U.S. Navy Admiral and NATO Supreme Commander James Stavridis says the cash flow from private donors is significant now and was even more significant in the early fundraising done by ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda's affiliate in Syria, the Al-Nusra Front. Quote, these rich Arabs are like what angel investors are to tech startups, except they are interested in starting up groups who want to stir up hatred, said Stavridis, now the dean of the Fletcher School of Diplomacy at Tufts University. Groups like Al-Nusra and ISIS are better investments for them. The individuals act as high rollers early, providing seed money. Once the groups are on their feet, they are perfectly capable of raising funds through other means like kidnapping, oil smuggling, selling women into slavery, etc. Stavridis and other current U.S. officials suggest that the biggest share of the individual donations supporting ISIS and the most radical groups comes from Qatar rather than Saudi Arabia, and that the Qatari government has done less to stop the flow than its neighbors in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. One U.S. official said the Saudis are more in line with U.S. foreign policy than the Qataris. Groups like ISIS and al-Nusra employ fundraisers who meet with wealthy Sunni Arabs. Most of the Arab states have laws prohibiting such fundraising, but U.S. officials say the Qataris do not strictly enforce their laws. Now, here's what you do. Here's what you do. Again, if you want to actually fight this, for whatever reason, right? Again, ISIS hasn't attacked the U.S. directly. They've stated that they apparently want to, but okay, fine, yeah, whatever. Whatever you say. They haven't attacked the U.S. directly like Al-Qaeda did. But here's how you wage war against Al-Qaeda. Here's how you actually do it without having to lie about weapons of mass destruction or skirting the War Powers Act or the War Powers Resolution, and actually declare war so that you can do whatever you want. Drone strikes, military tribunals of people captured in an actual declared war zone. Here's how you do it. You go to Qatar and you say, stop it. You are funding these people and they are coming after us. They're attacking us. Stop it. We are the United States of America. We ask you to please stop it. And diplomatically, you don't let them skate on the, oh well, we have laws. No. You do a little bit more. You're not doing enough. Your negligence, willful or otherwise, is allowing for these terror groups who wish to harm U.S. citizens and citizens abroad, allowing them to receive funding. Stop it. And they say no. What are they going to do? They're going to say no, right? This is an affront to Qatari sovereignty and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And this is the West telling the Arab world what to do. Yeah. Stop it. And then no, and you go a couple rounds like that. And then you declare war on Qatar. That's what you do. You declare war and you take their things. That's what you do. That's how you go do it. You want to stop ISIS? Declare war on Qatar and go and find and put on trial, or declare war and then put them in front of a military tribunal, the rich Sunni Arabs, and say, oh, well, your money's not going to help you here because this is a military tribunal, and we win. There you go. And then nobody can say boo to you because it was a legal war. No need for any of this cloak and dagger notifying Congress within 90 days of military operations. You can only... Congress has to vote to extend combat operations and none of that crap. Declare war as an act of Congress and then go get them, and nobody can say anything because you are the sovereign that is the United States of America, and your sovereignty is threatened by ISIS, Al-Qaeda, this, that, the other thing. Osama bin Laden back in the day. There was no need for any of this combat operations, skullduggery, bullcrap. Declare war, and then you can do what you want. I have to question why you would not want to declare war, but still engage in combat operations. What is it that you are looking to do? Why do you not want to have Congress have oversight on what it is you're doing over there? Why do you just want to have combat operations and then only retroactively 30 to 90 days later notify them that, oh, yeah, we did this. It's done now. I got to wonder. Seems a lot easier even, to just declare war, because if they're bad enough, and that's the perfect check, if they are bad enough, if they are a big enough threat, you can get Congress to declare war. You go, all right, here we go. These are the big baddies. We got to get them. Declare war. But if they're not, Congress would tell you, no, we got more important things to do than spend billions of dollars fighting these people. Well, they're beheading people. So what? They're tearing down Iraq. Okay. We have more important crap to deal with. How about more than half of working Americans? Half of working Americans are in a financially precarious position. How about the wealth gap in America? How about the working poor, the working impoverished? We have a working impoverished class in this country. How about we deal with that crap instead of going to fight more brown people because, oh my God, we're scared of brown people. All right, let's bring it home. Another great episode of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining me. I had a great time putting on the show for you. I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation, as well as gaming and vlogging content. Thank you to everybody that has been sharing the show, helping the show grow by sharing it with friends, family, and coworkers. It works. Try it out for yourself. Easier to do now. We got an RSS feed, leftyshow.podbean.com, and wherever you get your podcasts, Android, iOS, it does not matter for your PC, tablet, or mobile device. Just search The Lefty Show. Be sure to subscribe to the feed, download all the episodes at your leisure. Thank you to everybody for following me on Twitter at Lefty643, as well as donating. I'm raising.com/643 Productions. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.
He's got AIDS.